Adeola Fayem. James Garfield once said, next in importance to freedom and justice is popular education, without which neither freedom nor justice can be maintained. So here on Sahara TV, here at Sahara TV, we know the importance of education, and that's why we are devoting this show to the state of education in Nigeria, especially because we believe that education is the transmission of civilization, according to Will Durant. And so for this hour, I'm going to be talking about private schools, private universities in Nigeria. And to discuss with me is Professor Femi Ajayi. He's the Professor of Conflict Resolution and Management at Babcock University, and he's also the head of the Political Science and Public Administration Department. He was born in Oboland, Ekiti, and after his primary education, he moved to Ilorin, where he attended Bishop Smith Memorial College and College of Education. He has taught at Government Secondary School, Bama, Old Borno State, Government Secondary School, Afon, that's in Kwara State, and at Ijaotu Anglican Elementary School in Kwara State. But not only that, he has to his background teaching experience at Clark University in Atlanta, and he also served as the chairman of Social Science Department at Ebon International Preparatory Academy, that's also in Georgia. Professor Femi Ajayi, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to the program.
We're very glad to have you. And I noticed that you went to school in Kwara State. You know, I'm from Kwara State, so I feel, you know, some connection.
Oh, that's my home girl.
Yeah, I'm your home
That's
girl.
good to know that.
Okay.
Yes.
So my first question, sir, is if you can tell us some of the differences between public universities, public tertiary institutions in Nigeria, and private institutions in Nigeria.
Well, just like you said, public is being managed by the government, either state level or the federal government, and the private is owned by individuals, either through nations or a group of people in a community. The difference here in Nigeria is that the government solely are responsible for those of the public schools, while the private institutions will now do their own in line with the policies of their different organizations. That a mission school, in particular, especially this Babcock University, is a Seventh-day Adventist school, and they have all the principles and philosophies of the Adventist mission to actually pattern their education to the community. So briefly, that is just the difference between the private and the public schools in Nigeria.
Okay, so in terms of definition, we're all familiar with that basic definition. But if you can just point out some things that, if it's academically or physically in Nigeria, I mean, if you are in private school compared to someone that's in public school, just some of the differences that that's peculiar to Nigerian schools.
Yeah, regardless that is private or public, they are still under the organ of National Union or University Commission in Nigeria. That is, they give kind of guidelines as to what the curriculum should be. They still have one system of education. Just the approach in actually dispensing the education is maybe the difference. So the NUC will actually verify and approve any private institution should be in line with the federal government policy on education.
All right, so
they have... Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get some direct questions. How is Babcock University different from most public universities in Nigeria?
Well, Babcock University, like I said, is a faith-based university owned by the Seventh-day Adventists. The difference between here and any public institution in Nigeria is that, one, we may heard about all these strikes or going on vacation like that. It's never occurred at Babcock University, which means if you are scheduled to have your education within 4 years, you are guaranteed that you are going to have that one in 4 years without any interruption from any union at all. So that is the first thing. Secondly, they actually have some very strong, very high incentives for their lecturers, for their staff, which means you help them to actually work harder than any public institution in Nigeria. Working harder in the sense that they create some time for the students to tutor them, those of them who are not strong enough for what they are doing. They help them to do that. And again, is when they say they are in class, they are in class, unlike the public institution whereby teachers may say they are in the classroom and they may not be found over there. So in terms of discipline for the students also is very strong. There's something like courtism, in any private institution, especially in the back of university. You cannot find that one as it is found in the public school. So this one make them to actually work very hard and focus on their education and attaining very high grades by the time they finish their 4-year program.
See, those are some of the answers that I was looking for, just some basic things that makes private schools in Nigeria stand out compared to public schools. What about in terms of infrastructures? Are you saying that, is there a difference between, the infrastructures of the private schools compared to public schools?
I didn't get that question very clearly.
I'm wondering about the infrastructures between the public schools and the private schools in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay. The infrastructure, like in this university, the Bako University, for instance, they have the first thing which I think is very important is this regular power supply. This university
you have regular power supply?
Yes, 24/7 power supply.
Wow, I'm impressed.
And they have a very big, that can actually carry the whole school. They have direct contact or connection with PHCN, which means really we have any power shortage on the campus. And this one will help all the labs that they have, the ICTs that they have around here that needs constant power supply. That is basic one that they already have here. And in terms of classrooms, you will find some very nice classes. They've already stopped using all this chalk and board type of system to teach. They use kind of electronic type of thing that they actually use to teach their students. And so these things are they want to actually entice the students and even encourage them to even study very hard and whatever they do. Because when there's power for you, they go to anywhere, find them in the lab, at night, when they are doing what they're supposed to do, the library, also study. Internet also is also here, which you can reach 24/7. So it helps them to be able to do their research and reach out to all parts of the world.
Well,
so the infrastructure here is correct, and even see the surroundings also. The landscape also is just like anything you can find in America.
I see. I just wanted to, to bring our viewers up to date. We're discussing private schools and public schools in Nigeria. I like the comparisons that you're bringing so far. This is just giving us the basis for the questions that I'll be asking you subsequently. Now, since you've begun talking about Babcock University, using it as an example of private school, can you tell me the demographic, of the students that you have on your campus?
We have them from all over.
They're from all over. Are they just
from all over the country?
Are these?
And then it's not that specifically they are from this group or that group.
Okay.
They are very mixed. You also have Muslims.
Are these children of rich people, or are we going to find poor students that are poor on your campus?
Nigerians will pay any amount of money to get their education. That's why most of us who are able to drop over there to come to America, go to other parts of the world. So students, the parents will actually pay a lot in terms of getting the best education for their students. So it's not that only the rich folks are bringing their no. Okay. It's not cut across all aspects of Nigerian, either middle class or high class or low class.
Okay.
There are some students here who are actually sponsoring themselves because of the quality of education they are getting from there.
I see. I guess I can ask that question in a different way. There are some students who are smart, but maybe they cannot afford the education that you have at Babcock. And if they're interested in Babcock, is Babcock making any effort to, is there like a scholarship program that the students can apply for?
Babcock University has a scholarship program for all their students. They even have a student working program, like we have in US, that you can be working in the school and again get some little thing to add
Work study.
to your education. So work study is available here on the campus also. And for members of Adventists also, because they have to actually entice their people, at the same time, they have started scholarship for them.
I see.
So they have that kind of incentives for them on the campus.
So I'm wondering, sir, what's the difference between your salary and your how do I say it, your colleagues in private in public universities? Is there a difference between the salary that lecturers receive at public school compared to private school?
Well, when in any place you find yourself to work, all that helps you to even put in your best may be the incentives that you are receiving from the employer. So that is very kind of encouraging the lecturers here to do more, to go to, even I have one of our lecturers in my department that every year they collect books, latest books from US. That is the incentive that he has for him to make sure he gives the best to the students. So as on the public school, for instance, I never been there, but I went through public school before I traveled to US, where I stayed for about 30 years. We have some of them who are trying to struggle to make sure they lay both ends, and again because of how the government handles, not even the government, I mean the executors of education in the public sector manages their affairs here, which are not that encouraging. So in terms of quality of education, you still have that the private schools still do better for the public services.
Okay.
And I think Bacon University was given an award recently as the best private institution in the whole of Africa.
In the whole of Africa?
In the whole of Africa.
Okay.
The best private institution.
Okay, so let me ask you, the children that are not able to attend Babcock University or any private school, obviously they don't get access to some of these things that you mentioned, like the internet, constant electricity, electronic boards, and so on. Do you think that there's a difference between the students that attend public schools and the students that attend private schools?
Well, those good infrastructure have been given them the opportunity or the advantage and an edge over those in the public schools. And even when they get to the market also, I think they are very, very marketable. And I think recently there was a job fair where we have some big companies that came over here to recruit students before they even start their NYC. What they normally do is that we take them and serve in their companies for NYC and retain them thereafter they finish their job. So they still have some better, advantage over the public schools.
So are you saying that students that go through your program are more marketable?
Say that again.
Are you saying that students that go through your program, they are more marketable?
It's very marketable, their programs. We even have some students here who have branched out to some areas, the music industry, the designing industry. Like, some of them are just going there now, and I can see that 2 of them now have the highest shot in the music industry in Nigeria.
I see.
Who finished from this school. So the curriculum they have there is being designed for them to actually create jobs for themselves thereafter they leave the school, not just be looking for jobs. So it's part of the thing they incorporate into their curriculum.
So if we have a school like Babcock, which you said got the award for the best private school in the whole of Africa, why is it that some people are still sending their children abroad to go to school?
Well, sending anybody abroad is just a choice. It's not that it's because it's not good over there, it's not good over there, and they have to be sending people all over places. And even those of us who travel over there, it was a choice for us to do. Even though we didn't have enough room to actually accommodate us, in Nigeria. So any parents sending their children abroad, it's just a choice. But there are some areas they can actually study very well in Nigeria. And again, let me say that there is no country that could actually give its citizens everything they needed for the education. So we still have to fight out to go from one place to another place to go and acquire that education and bring it back home for others to benefit from. So those who attend their children abroad, it's still their choice.
Earlier you said that there is nothing like called societies Babcock University. Has there ever been like a riot in Babcock University?
Violence?
Yes.
I have not witnessed that since I came back 3 years ago. And there could be an isolated case or maybe something happening between the students, among the students, but not to that extent of actually being put them under culture. I mean, any type of ugly things that we see in some public institutions.
Okay, so for this next question, I just want to know your opinion. A lot of the rich politicians in Nigeria that can make a difference in the quality of education in public universities, a lot of them are not doing it, but instead they send their children overseas to study. What's your opinion about that?
The politicians, I think get it very clear.
Yeah, the politicians in Nigeria.
What about the politicians?
I said that most of them have their children overseas studying, but they're not doing anything to make education better in Nigeria.
Well, politicians will still be politicians. And then in terms of, if I get your question very clearly, which is, I think it's not clear to me, but I will say that the role of these politicians in developing Nigeria is not that encouraging. And I believe that it's based on the policy in terms of how to implement those policies in the public sector. And since they are still working on I know you, I don't know you type of appointment to implement some of these policies is usually a challenge. And I believe Jonathan recently is now making a move in terms of how to get qualified individuals to man the affairs of the public services. I think two positions became vacant recently, and then he has to advertise. He says he's going to advertise those positions so that can entice people that actually qualify to do that. Now, the Nigerian university just created some other universities, and I think they brought some of the people from abroad to actually manage that university. I think one case in point is Professor Aluko.
Yeah, we spoke with him
who
earlier.
Is at Bayelsa State University or something like that. So these are the things that I believe this administration try to do to make sure that they have the correct individuals, the most qualified individuals to man the affairs of education in Nigeria.
I know, sir, that your family is here. I know your children were born here, so they're still here and they're going to school here. My question is that if you were to put your children in a public university in Nigeria, what are some of the things that you would want to ensure that they have? I'm trying to ask what you think that Nigerian schools, the public schools, what they can do better. So if you were to put your child in a public university in Nigeria, let's say University of Ilorin or something like that, what is it that you want to make sure that the school can offer your child before you put them there?
Yeah, as you mentioned, my children were born over there, and I just left 2 years ago to come back to Nigeria. And all of them have finished their university, so they cannot come back to Nigeria again. And also, you know, I went through some education here, teachers grade 2 college, and at the same time NCE, which is National Certificate in Education, before I traveled over there. What could be done in Nigeria in terms to improve these public schools is what these individual private schools are doing. They can do better over there. In the first place, we have some actually deadwood teachers, let me just put it that way, who are just counting the number of years they're going to spend before they retire. And they don't do much work to do that. And you can see that what actually manage the problems in public schools is this question of strike, industrial action all the time. If the lecturers are not going on strike, students will go. If they are not going, the other workers will go. So this one actually is messing up the whole thing about education system in Nigeria. And what government should do is to make sure that they pay all these workers as they plan, as they agree to pay them. So once they agree they're going to pay X number of naira for people at this category, let them do that. And the government, I will tell you, is just chewing more than you can actually swallow. I mean, bite more money you can chew at the same time. And because of this, they took away, schools from private individuals, from missionaries. So they should return all this back to them and just follow the policy they lay on the ground so that they can adequately monitor the education program in Nigeria. And with that independency for each of these institutions, I believe they can improve education for our public sector.
So does public schools right now feel like there's any competition between them and, do private schools like Babco, do you feel there's any competition between you and public schools right now in Nigeria?
Well, some of the institutions, like the premier institutions like University of Ibadan, the Ahmadu University, and the University of Musuka, and Lagos University also, I think they are actually striving and they are working very hard to make sure that they are in line with what they should do in terms of providing best education for the public. And I think recently the graduates of Lagos University, I was so impressed that two graduates there bagged their PhD at the age of 25 and 26, respectively. So, which means that they have laid the foundation for that. You small folks, the youth, can actually finish their education on time if there is no interruption in whatever they are doing.
Where do you see Nigerian schools going to, let's say in the next 5 years, 10 years, these public universities? Do you think that eventually they would get better, or do you think they would keep going the way they're going?
I think they will now get back their glory in terms of producing the best for the country.
They will not,
the private
or they will?
They will. They will.
Okay.
They will. Because things have begun to change, and even the community also, the citizens also, they are weak and trying to remind the government what they are supposed to do. But the only thing we need to do is just to make sure that the government should find a way of stopping or ending completely this strike in the public sector. But we are very hopeful that it will get there.
All right, and let me say one more thing. What do you have to say to a lot of Nigerians that go to school outside the country, and because things are good here, they don't want to come back to Nigeria? Do you...
Well, those who go to schools outside Nigeria should find a way, after they finished, to come back to Nigeria and see how best they can actually incorporate without the flying abroad. Like myself, I was in the US for 30 years, and I came to Nigeria before I start losing my teeth to make sure that I can just put something on the ground for the people. And Nigeria cannot absorb everybody, but don't think as if you are coming to work at specific places, like either to be this or be that. But just anywhere you find yourself, try to make an impact. A little dot you put down will take a long way to help some other Nigerians anywhere they may be.
Thank you very much, Professor Ajayi. It's very nice having you here on Sahara TV today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your invitation and accepting me to be.